Make sure you pick up my 2 books that's in Amazon right now. The first one is Passive-Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy. And I talk about in that particular book how the system of white supremacy really runs and on our daily lives here in America. In our latest book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we go through those steps to try to deprogram you from the system of white supremacy. Make sure you can pick up those books on Amazon.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you come in, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. We, of course, ask that you do that because it makes it more likely that other folks will know that we're here. And how many of you all know that is so important to our message and the expansion of our Black collective voice. Yes, talk Black to me, somebody. And also, family, I am so honored to announce that you'll be seeing me here live on a regular basis, Tuesday through Thursday. Yes, Tuesday through Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. So set your alarms, family, just in case you don't receive notifications. And of course, we want you to tell other folks about it. Yes, I am looking forward to sharing commentary here with you live. And of course, even if you don't make it live, be sure to check out the replay later on because it's going to be so very important. Yes, thank you so very much, family. Now, you know, I like to say sometimes I won't be long, but I will be strong. And I won't be long today, but family, we've got to have a conversation here. How many of you all know we are not about to let up for 1 second on our demand, not ask, but our demand for reparations? Yes, family, I want to read you a little bit about the goings on right now from one particular article out of concerning California. Yes. Now, just a little bit of a backstory. You all should know by now that there was a major and very successful statewide reparations push in California. Yes, it was so successful that some of the legislators there, they put their name on the bill, they were moving it forward. And so the next process to put it on the floor, the voting and so forth was to take place. Keep in mind that California is dominated, the legislature, by who? The Democrats. And who wielded a particular level of power were some of the Black Democrats there. Yes. So yes, we have a federal or nationwide reparations push because the federal government at large is responsible for the mistreatment and the theft of our labor and resources. But so are individual states. Do you understand? So that's what this is about. So for those of you that are saying, well, I thought this, I thought that, and I thought California didn't have slavery, baby, let me tell you something. Every state in the United States is complicit, either because of its explicit statewide laws, or they had laws that enforce anti-Black white supremacist discriminatory policies. Do you understand? So we got this. So this is the reason why the demand was so forceful and very successful in California until who? Until your Black legislators sabotaged it. Talk Black to me, somebody. And your white governor, Newsom, and I emphasize your white governor, liberal governor, because they're the ones that's supposed to be so pro-Black, right? California is overwhelmingly Democrat, but it was the Democrats that sabotaged it, that played around like they were getting ready to do it. Now, watch this. This is important for you to understand. This is the reason why when some of you all think that they doing something, when they talking about reparation studies, baby, they ain't nothing to study. We didn't study money for the white Ukrainians. We didn't study for the hundreds of billions of dollars that we still sending them. A new package that was recently sent out by Biden before he's getting ready to get out of here. That was not done. There was no studies done for white Afghans that we brought over here talking about all of the years of war that they went through, and we put all them millions and millions of dollars worth of gas in the jet planes and gave them tangibles when they touched down here in the United States. Because they essentially worked as assets for the U.S. government. So we brought them over from Afghanistan. Nobody did studies when the AAPI community, the Asian Pacific Island community, in 1 year's time, when the whole world was shut down because of the medical situation. Biden took office. The Democrats ran the Senate and the House. What did they use that time to do? In record speed, both the Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly signed an Asian criminal bill for protection for them. Technically, the bill that black folks are still waiting to get, those of us who created and made America, we don't even have the bill, the legislation, the formal official passed legislation that the AAPI community got. And they got that because they said they experienced racism during the pandemic. Now, how many of you all know that when the census was done, and if I hadn't mistaken, maybe Brother Phil later on can correct me, I could have sworn he talked about this too. When the census was done, do you all know that they had to change? The census found that still the number one target for racism were black folks, and that some of the numbers in certain parts of the countries for the Asian community was statistically unchanged. So they had to fix some of those numbers that was originally reported, like they was dealing with all kind of levels of racism. They had to adjust those numbers back downward or statistically unchanged in some places. We gave, so they got that special protection law, right? And without the need for congressional legislation, the Democrats with their slick self, this is what I keep emphasizing. Y'all, I know y'all like, why you keep talking about this? Because I'm trying to show you that the Democrats know how to get tangibles into the hands of constituencies in a slick way. All they needed was Republicans and Democrats to pass legislation so they can have a crime bill for the Asian community. They did that. And the Republicans almost overwhelmingly, just like the Democrats, except for one or two holdouts, overwhelmingly passed the bill for the Asian community. I'll break down what the reason for that is, what my suspected reasons for the reason why both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly supported the Asian bill. But in addition to the Asian community getting a legislation for protection that required a law to be passed, which it passed and was signed. Come close to the screen. I brush my teeth, I promise you. The Democrats, without the need for any legislation, found $50 million already in the government in different agencies and redirected those funds to their community. Let me hit the gavel on that. Talk black to me, somebody. They found $50 million that was already in the government under different agencies and redirected those funds just to the Asian community in 1 year's time. They got a law passed, overwhelmingly passed by Republicans and Democrats. And with no need for a law, the Democrats creatively found a way to cut checks for their communities. Talk black to me, somebody. So when black folks sit up here and tell y'all don't be coming up with all of these roadblocks to tell us what you can and can't do, we can use a recent study and a recent group of people that was specific for them to prove our point in no limit of time. I'm bringing that up to let you know. Now I'm going to the article to remind you of something. We who created the country, we who have been here before the United States was officially the United States, that's been in existence for almost about 250 years-ish. We were here before that formally, right? They still hadn't given us one red cent. Giving the Japanese descendants money. After they were interned in some camps for a little short period of time, they weren't enslaved. It still wasn't right. But they weren't enslaved, they weren't flogged, they weren't lynched. They didn't do chattel slavery. They weren't involved in convict leasing. They didn't have no Jim Crow laws like us. But the descendants of the Japanese got checks, real tangible checks in the mail, stuff that you cash. They buy clothes and shoes. shoes and pay insurance bills, put kids through colleges and stuff. They got real checks. So over and over again, we see you all playing in our faces, not to mention the billions of dollars that y'all are spending for legal and illegal immigration, right? So when we talk about the Democrats, we'll sit up here talking about studies. When we tell you all that's a trick and they're just slow walking our tangibles so that they can keep milking our votes while they pretend like they're getting to it. I'm giving you all these examples where no studies were done or needed. You understand? With that being said, the backlash has been so strong from California that the Democrats sabotaged their own bill with their name on it, played with their constituency just to use their votes. Guess what? Y'all wonder why more and more black folks stayed home or voted for Trump to punish the Democrats. This is why. Because y'all played this trick and spit in the face of your black Californians just weeks before the election. Look at this article now. What does it say? Y'all ready? Y'all put your seatbelts on. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ain't ready for this. Headline: apology, but no cash payments. California reparations for slavery start incrementally. Family, should I read on or no? Do I need to say anything else? Governor Newsom has decided to sign on, not for checks, not for restoring land, property, or giving any kind of resources to, not for cutting taxes for black constituents of descendants of formerly enslaved. None of that. No special creative other forms of tangibles. The California lawmakers, along with this governor, guess what they said? Y'all get excited about what I'm about to, this breaking news. How about we just say something? How about we legislate and officially sign off that we're going to say we sorry? No checks right now, though. No checks. But we sorry. I know y'all excited out there. Everybody be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Share, share, share. Did y'all hear what I said? When the California Reparations Task Force, the article says, released a 1,000-page report last year addressing the effects of systemic racism on black residents, it made headlines with ambitious and comprehensive recommendations, including reforms at every level of government and cash payments. Somebody say cut the checks. Somebody put some cash bags in the chat. Somebody found a credit card emoji. The same kind of stuff that y'all was doing for illegal immigrants. Y'all remember they was putting food on Visa credit card stuff for the folks, for the illegals. Somebody put a credit card in the chat. Somebody put a euro in the chat. Somebody put a dollar bill in the chat. Talk black to me. Something that represent money. Watch this. It made headlines with ambitious and comprehensive recommendations, including reforms at every level of government and cash payments with an eye-popping, it says, price tag. Now, honey, this lady's already been in her writing here, but I don't want to hear nothing about no eye-popping price tag. No. The only thing that's eye-popping is that almost $1 trillion bill that just passed for the war machine in the United States for the Defense Department. Do you all know, I think it was 800 some billion, just under 1 trillion with a T. Somebody put just a letter T in the chat. Just recently, we just passed another defense bill for almost $1 trillion with a T dollars. I wish I would. Talk about some eye-popping. Vicki, keep reading. That's a Mississippi fire. Now, acting on the recommendation framework acting on the recommended framework, California Gavin Newsom signed a reparations legislation, a package of reparations legislation. Y'all ready for this? Including a formal apology to African Americans for the state's role in perpetuating slavery and its legacy. But it says, and budgeted up to $12 million to pay for it. State lawmakers touted the handful of bills as significant milestones, but the bills disappointed advocates who have been calling for what? More aggressive action. The efforts amount to a small fraction for what would have been needed for cash payments to descendants of slavery or for other forms of monetary redress like subsidies for education or home ownership. Even home ownership would have been better than that. Program specific for foundational Black Americans out there in California. I'm sure some of us, even though that's not specifically just that, but shoot, programs set aside for us to get our house. Yeah, we'll take that. Seeing that y'all were agreeing on money for down payments for illegal immigrants to get houses and stuff. And y'all pulled back on that. And remember when Kamala was still in the race, remember they asked Kamala to comment on it because that's from her state and her party that was pushing it. And remember she ran from it. The reporters couldn't get a response from her team. I did a broadcast on this here. I did a broadcast about that right here on African Diaspora News Channel. Kamala Harris runs from that proposed legislation where even illegal immigrants would have been eligible to get money for down payments for brand new houses. She was running from that. She didn't want to, no comment. People couldn't even get on the record for it. Watch this. My point is we would have taken it. That would have been something for us. Keep going, Vicki. Everyone is looking to California to lead, looking to California to understand what obstacles might be ahead of us, looking for how community and institutions work together to wrap around in this process of reparations, said Robin Ruth Simmons, founder of First Repair, an organization leading reparations discussions across the country. But those hoping to capture momentum around last year's recommendations say lawmakers missed an important opportunity. Now watch your sellout bootlicks. I think this was a good start, said State Senator Stephen Bradford, Vice Chair of California's Legislative Black Caucus, who also sat on the Reparations Task Force. But I think we could have really done more, especially at this time. And you know the urgency of now was here. Ninja, that's so soft. That's such a softball. We don't want you to start at no apology. Don't none of us, baby. If you cutting checks, the checks scream, I'm sorry, forgive me. Me going to the bank, receiving the wire, me getting that notification app, that's all this I'm sorry I need. Of the 14 bills proposed by the Legislative Black Caucus at the beginning of the year, 8 made it to law at the end of September. The marquee law is a bipartisan apology. Oh, wow. Whoa. Whoa. Scream, everybody. Somebody put some cheer pom-poms or something in the chat. A bipartisan apology. A bipartisan nothing burger. Somebody try to take that apology. Take that legislation down to apply for your first home. Take that apology to Chevron or one of the gas stations and see if that will fill up the tank. Take that apology to your baby's college to see if that'll take care of the first year's tuition. Take that apology to the insurance company to see if it's going to cover dialysis. Take that apology and see if it's going to buy you a high price tag loaf of bread and some eggs and some milk. Try it. See if that's a fair exchange rate. See if they're going to exchange you for that apology. See if that's going to do something. You see how they playing in our face? The marquee law is a bipartisan apology. California joined several other states, including Florida, Virginia, Alabama, which have also issued apologies. Y'all, I don't even want to read the rest of this madness. I've given you enough information there. I just want you all to see that the Black Legislative Caucus that sabotaged the reparations bill, that think that it's all over with now, Trump's getting ready to get in office, and that you all aren't going to continue to hold them accountable, that we aren't going to continue to hold them accountable, that we're going to get tired. Let me tell you all something. Do you all know the reason why we made the difference in this race? It's because of years of us calling out injustices by your government leaders and legislators. How many of y'all know we just getting started? How many of you all know that whatever I'm talking about here on this network broadcast, watch it. When Brother Phil is going live, Brother Phil is giving commentary, watch it. When my colleagues are putting out their brilliant journalism, watch it. We are just getting started. And that requires a level of discipline first for you to decide that you're going to be educated on the issues. Do you understand? That you're going to engage. and that we're going to do just all gas. Keep our foot, politically and socially speaking, on the necks of those that are supposed to do right by us. We're not going to let up because there's a new president coming in. We are just getting started. And we're in it for the long haul. Yes? I always like to connect some dots. Some of you all have heard me read from this book. Y'all listen to me now. I've been reading from multiple different books. Vicki don't just holler and scream and bam the gavel. All of that's important. Every bit of that is important. Every bit of that. But I like to always give context to the demand for reparations and why it is essential to the U.S. economy maintaining a thriving, but also balancing out the scales and putting America in a more favorable geopolitical position. How many of you all know that there are spiritual principles to money? How many of you all know that when you crucify Black Americans, when you steal us and steal our labor, when you destroy generations and generations of us as a people, when you deny us education, deny us dignity, when you torture us, family around the world, in case you didn't know this, even when we were in chattel slavery, that means when we weren't even free. Do you all know that we fought in every single war, that Black folks were fighting on both sides of the war with the hope that by fighting we would be free, by fighting that we were going to receive some reward, by fighting they would see our dignity, and that would mean something? Did you all know that we fought in every war? Do you all know that the layout for Washington, D.C. that y'all fly into when you come into the country was laid out by Black men? The map itself, the beautiful edifices and buildings that you see were built, many of them, by the hands of our ancestors. You all do know that we were the agricultural geniuses, right? You do know that when you look at documentation and artifacts in the newspapers, they show that those that they had enslaved were herbalists, were masons, were builders, were architects. Y'all do know that, don't you? You do know that if our open enemy had the ability to create America on their own, they would have done it. They would not have not only stole us, stole our land, and stole our labor, they would have done it themselves. How many of you all know that a lot of the inventions that you enjoy, this is the reason why it was warfare legally with the Patents Office. Do y'all know that? In fact, I had something else lined up that I was going to read to you. I'm reading from this book entitled How White Folks Got So Rich. Just Google it and you can buy it, NOI.org, from the Nation of Islam. Powerful little book. You can read this whole book on your lunch break. Family, I like to give references. This book is too long because it talks about how our enslavement was codified in law. Give me a couple minutes. What did I just say? I want to read you just very briefly, one little excerpt giving you just one example of the mess making on how these United States of America used our laws to work against us, right? And there is no area of law that they didn't work against us in. Watch this. This particular part of the piece that I want to first read from on patents, here it is. Because y'all, all this stuff, we grew up in school. Edison created the light, but if you don't sit down, stole it from a Black man. Y'all listening? On page 167, and I'm done. Every time I know y'all like, Vicki, by the time we done following you, you would have read the whole book. That's exactly my point, because I want to give you historical context. Let me read quickly. On page 167, the headline, not the headline, the section of this book is titled Patents, the Black Ingenuity Snatchers. Real quick, the list of Black inventors is long and an impressive one, but the list of those Blacks who profited from their own inventions is too short to qualify as a list. The carefully laid traps, that's how they say traps, and barriers to patents, and the legal cost of protecting the same to capital, to manufacturing, to distribution, to media, to markets, all but ensure that inventions are wrested away from the Black inventors before they can use them to become entrepreneurs, industrialists, and employers of Black people. It is said that this patent system, quote, rewards American ingenuity, but the patent system more often rewards the thief. Somebody say the thief, who uses his status as a member of the white race to exploit the market for his own profit. Late night television is filled with ads of capitalists seeking to, quote, help inventors bring their ideas to fruition for a fee. They have even created a popular television show so we can all watch the truly ingenious beg the merely rich for an investment called Shark Tank. During their enslavement, Africans were engaged in every form of highly skilled labor. Did y'all hear what I said? Now, I know you all are used to hearing me talk about chattel slavery, Jim Crow, and these other typical things that we talk about when we're talking about why we're owed reparations. But Vicki gonna level it up. I'm gonna give y'all more specifics. It don't stop. That's what I'm talking about. Patents. Listen. Highly skilled. What did I say? During their enslavement, Africans were engaged in every form of highly skilled labor, including engineering and mechanics. They accessed their ancient intelligence as builders of the pyramids to develop machinery that made their forced labor more productive and efficient. Y'all better sit down for school. I got 2 minutes. Among those products credited to African genius are the rotary engine. How many of y'all know about that? Lawnmower, horseshoe, elevator, refrigerator, cash register, gas burner, printing press, pencil sharpener, fire extinguisher, scaffolding, fountain pen, gas mask, traffic light, and the electric light. The cotton gin, which generated unaccountable riches for Europeans, especially, y'all, hold your seatbelts. Especially who, Vicki? Rothschilds were credited to the Massachusetts-born Eli Whitney. But earlier cotton gins were found in use in Africa and in Asia. Elisha McCoy's lubricator allowed trains to run continually for the first time, causing railroad operators to demand, quote, the real McCoy. How many of y'all heard that phrase before? The work was so excellent, so highly skilled. They said, what? There was a demand. That's why they got the term. We want the real McCoy, baby, without knowing its Black source. Today, the McCoy name is unknown. The wealth redirected from Elisha and his family to white professionals, to white profiteers, rather. George Washington Carver's experiments were so advanced that he found hundreds of revolutionary uses for peanuts, soybeans, pecans, and sweet potatoes. The plastic he created from peanut oil was used to upholster Henry Ford's first automobile. Talk black to me, somebody. Vicki, stop screaming. Somebody put a car in the chat. Carver died broke, but plastics, now wastefully based in petroleum oil, have been central to everything in use today. Though Thomas Edison is credited with the invention, he was not the first to conceive or attempt to develop an electric light. Y'all know I mentioned that earlier. I'm about done. It is Lewis H. Latimer, y'all look him up, who was the first to succeed by creating a filament, the part that burns inside the glass bulb that can be lit over long periods of time. Yes, finally making electric lighting practical. Further proving that he, and not Edison, is the inventor. It is Latimer whose drawings are patented. Did y'all see me just connect these dots? It is Latimer who supervised the installation of electricity. Y'all sit down for this. For New York, Philadelphia, Canada, and London. This Black man supervised. Where my Black family in London? Where my Black family at? In Canada. He supervised the installation of electricity in New York, Philadelphia, Canada, and London. It is Latimer who wrote the first electricity manual. I got chills. I feel the electricity. It is Latimer, not Edison, who provided the critical expert testimony in court in defense of Edison's patents, on which millions of dollars were at stake. And it is Latimer who died poor in 1928, while Edison's family empire is based almost entirely on the genius of that Black man. I'm gonna stop right there. I'll be here all day, every day, giving you multiple examples of how they use all kinds of law. But I wanted to switch it up today to give you another more palatable example. Beloved, y'all better stop playing with us, California. America, you better stop playing with us in these little weak apologies. You are making money off of the things that we created for this country. You better cut us the check. And just like I read in the beginning of that article when that lady said, eye-popping price tag, baby, ain't no eye-popping nothing. It's eye-popping theft by our open enemy. And we're not asking, we demanded it. Beloved, I have an upcoming free event in just a few days away on Sunday, December 22nd. Sunday, December 22nd. It is my free offering to the world as I begin to talk about the goings on in Syria, the fall of Syria, and what that has to do with the ancient Black civil prophetesses. And of course, the two major actors involved, America and her ally in Israel. We can't talk about this stuff online. Go to my website at VickiPlanet.com, VickiPlanet.com, beloved. Go to VickiPlanet.com and save your seat for December 22nd. If you're watching this later, we'll make the replay available for those who are my students. You can find the information at the same website. Thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see